Welcome to Hair Hero, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of the best in the business to uncover what makes them tick and sometimes what makes them twitch. I'm your host, Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and creator of Masters Academy. Join me each week for impactful conversations with industry leaders, icons, influencers, and trendsetters. Get ready to be inspired, learn from the pros, and maybe even have a laugh or two. Because let's face it, if we can't have fun talking about hair, we're doing it wrong. Let's get started. Hey everybody, I am excited to have Jamie Dana here for an awesome masterclass where we get to talk and pick her brain and find out what makes her tick. Ooh. So, hey, welcome, Hi. Jamie. How are you?
Good. I'm really good. I'm excited to be here. This is so cool to be here in person. I just have to say, it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. You're so close. So whenever you want, come on down. Take the train on down, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride.
Well, thanks for having me.
But you've been on a great ride with everything that you've done. I'm curious.
Yeah.
What do you if somebody says, "Hey, Jamie, what do you do?"
Oh, that's so funny. It's funny because now, so for those of you who don't know, I basically have been in the hair industry since I was 17 years old. So that's technically almost 14 years now, which is wild. But did hair for so long, built a really successful business in the salon. I kind of, my claim to fame is that I've done every position in the hair industry from assistant to commission, rental, suite owner, salon owner, now educator. And back in 2018, I actually stopped taking clients and went full-time into education. And with that, a lot of my education is online. It's similar to what you do. Membership, courses, all of that kind of stuff. And so now when people ask me what I do, sometimes I'll say hairstylist because it's just easier. It's just easier to say that. And then I have the bobby pin tattoo. So it just is if it's an old person, it's oh yeah, I'm a hairstylist, whatever. But now a lot of times I'm I'm a CEO of an education company in the hair industry. And I think that that's so amazing that because of the internet, I get to show up and teach and interact with stylists all around the world. And that just blows my mind. So yeah, CEO of an education company.
I love it. I love it. What's funny, you said you simplify things and say sometimes I'm just a hairstylist.
Right.
But I'm very, very careful about saying that because the first question you get, so can you do my hair?
Yeah.
And
what would you do with my hair? Yep.
And God forbid you're speaking to somebody that has no hair.
Yes.
Oh yeah, what would you do to my hair?
Yep.
That never gets old.
It's always too because of the bobby pin tattoo. They're always can I have one? And I'm oh yeah.
Yeah, have that right here.
Bob, sure. Yep. Every time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny though because I'm sure depending on the day, you change what you do. What is a typical day look like for you? Because I know that your focus most of the time now is that you're helping hairstylists succeed by teaching them workable Instagram strategies. Yeah. Right? What does that look like? How do you wake up? Do you wake up in the morning with a list of I'm going to shoot this today, I'm going to do this today, or I'm burnt out, I'm just going to go for a walk and try to figure out where I'm at. So tell me what that looks like.
I think every day's a little different. It's funny because I was actually homeschooled my whole life. So I grew up in an environment where I literally was you had to get up and you do your schoolwork and then you're done for the day, So it's kind of similar to what I do now. But honestly, a lot of times it's either I have a meeting in the morning with my team and then it could be anything from writing launch copy, writing emails, filming a video. Sometimes it's a podcast interview or creating a webinar or scripting out a video. I actually am coming back to YouTube, which is super exciting. I've been off YouTube for almost 3 years now. So that'll be part of my weekly schedule is scripting a video or getting it ready to post, interacting with my team. I think a lot of people see people like you or I on Instagram and they might think that it's just us. And I think for so many of us, we see social media educators or influencers and we don't realize they have a whole team behind them. And you might look at someone like me and think how is she able to do it all? How does she teach at this event and do this thing and launch this thing? And I have a team. I have somebody that helps me. In the same way, maybe you as a stylist might have an assistant that helps you. Right. You don't do it all on your own. And I just think that's important to kind of recognize that, really can't do this all on your own.
Right.
It really does take a team to do that. And I'm grateful that I have the team that I have.
And I know that
I know you do too.
you're very grateful to them, and you shout it that you love your team, and that's great. It does bother me when some influencers say like, I did this, or I made this much money, or all these big success. They take the credit for all these like massive achievements, when I'm like, what does your team think about this?
Yeah.
Are they just like behind there like, I helped you do that? You wouldn't be able to do this. Spend time with your family if it wasn't for us over here. So I do like how you openly appreciate them.
Yeah,
I think
it's also
humbling
just
feature.
Sure, and I think not only is it for the team aspect, but just for people in general to think like, I think so often we can see other educators or people online and think like, oh, I'm not doing enough.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh God, I should post reels more, and I should why can't I create a course like that? Why can't I do all of this stuff? And it's like, no, it's like I had help doing it,
Right.
And I just think that that's so important. Like the facade you might see on Instagram or social media, there's so much more that goes behind it. And I just think it's important to recognize if you're feeling like down on yourself about that,
Well, take me back to when you first started all these things. You didn't have a team, right?
Yeah.
So you start learning step by step as you go. And for somebody that's listening to this right now, and they're like, "Well, I don't have a team, so I can't do it." It's almost like an excuse.
Which one's first?
Well, so how do I do this and then get a team, or how do I get a team first and then do it? Where would somebody start?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on really like what you want to do. So for me, I knew around 2015 that I wanted to go into education. And at the time, that was when a lot of other, educators were like becoming big on Instagram. I think, you guys were growing your page, and it was kind of like if you had like 10,000 followers, it was a big deal.
Big deal.
20,000 followers was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And, people were starting to work with brands at that point and do like independent education, traveling to salons, doing the whole thing, going on tour was a big one. Braiding was a big one at the time.
Now everybody's on tour.
Yeah, everyone's on tour. Or like people are like, I went on tour, did that thing. Now I'm not, But for me, I knew that I didn't want to do that. I was like, okay, I don't want to be on the road all the time. For me, that just didn't feel aligned with what I wanted. And I also wanted to be able to like reach more people. And so at the time I was like, there was this thing called online education and webinars and whatever. And I was like, what if I created an online course or education, and how many more people I would be able to reach with that? So I did create an online course. And I think I was one of like the very first, you were one of the very first ones at the time to create online education. And it's just wild how many people you and I have been able to impact outside of just going salon to salon. So yeah, like for me, that was like kind of where it started. And as far as team goes, is like, I literally, to go back to the beginning, I learned it all. I like duct taped it together. I learned coding to like make web pages and how to connect this link to that. And, you figure it out.
Right.
And then eventually it's like, okay, I need help answering emails. Okay, I need help doing this. I need help creating content for this. So slowly but surely you just start to kind of build a team, and that evolves, some team members don't stay full time, and it happens that way. And it's, I think with anything, maybe if you're a stylist who has gone from, being an assistant to like building a commission chair, and then building a rental chair, and then maybe a suite, and then opening up a salon, like you just learn along the way.
Right.
You learn from your mistakes, and, you figure it out.
But I think you touched on something important, and it's something I believe in 100%, is you said that you did everything yourself. You learned everything yourself initially. Yeah. And I feel like you have to, because before you hire anybody for any particular position, you need to know what that position entails.
And what
so that way when they come in, like, hey, I want you to manage my social media. Well, what part of the social media? Well, if you have never done it, you're like, I don't know, just do it.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they're going to be doing a good job.
Yeah.
Or what you need to be successful. Sure. Same thing with marketing. It could be your bookkeeper. It could be your accountant. You need to know all that stuff ahead of time so that you can judge, are they doing what we need them to do, or are they just wasting my money because I don't know if they're doing a good job or not?
Yeah, I think like there is a key to like being educated on what is going on in your business. And especially like as businesses grow, again, whether it's a salon owner, it could be a salon owner, but like you don't understand like how the booking software works as a salon owner, that's a problem.
Right.
You know, if you don't understand, like, sure, we can hire out tax teams and bookkeepers, but having a good understanding of like what finances are and what a profit and loss statement is, that's important. And I think a lot of us in this industry are real creative. And so often we don't want to do some of the hard things that are required to own a business. And so we just push money at it and say, okay, somebody else will manage that. Somebody else will manage this. Somebody else will do that. And you don't learn it. And that can actually really hurt you in the long run, whether it's you're spending excess money on something you don't need to, or you just don't really know what they're doing. And maybe the bookkeeper really isn't a good bookkeeper, but you don't know that because you don't understand. Yeah, right? Or just like they didn't teach you what you needed to learn. So I think like as a business owner, just in general, always learning and growing. I think like, I know for you and for me, I'm always learning. Like there's never a day that goes by that I'm like, okay, like I got it all, you know? Like, no, like you never stop learning. There's always something to be figured out and you can always grow.
And you say that very positively. Like, you know, and growing can be really fun. But sometimes all that training is just, you hate it. You hate doing it. You hate like as creatives, I hate getting into the numbers of things. I hate budgeting and making line items and I hate it. But it's important and it's something that you have to do. You can't just push it off.
You
I mean,
learn
you
how
can
to
hire some and then you hire somebody to do it. But it's still important for us to every now and then go look at to make sure that whoever you hired is doing a good job and do the numbers make sense so that you're not just always flying from the seat of your pants and winging it, which I do a lot. And I'm like, okay, I gotta let's see if I'm still on purpose with what I'm trying to accomplish.
I think like to that point is always kind of going back to why am I doing this in the first place? You know, and I think so often we can get, and that's kind of like where I've been this last year of, I guess, realigning, you know, with what am I doing this for? Am I growing a business just to grow a business? Because I see my friends growing a business and I see them doing all these awesome things and that's what I think I need to be doing. Or am I growing a business that makes me feel good and like what I actually want to do and what I want to do with my life? And I mean, I could have scaled my current business that I have to lots of money and a big team, but I don't really want that. To me, like where I'm at right now feels really good. I'm trying to, you know, I think you're always trying to figure that out, but I think not focusing on what everybody else is doing and really ask yourself, like, is this what I want to do? You know, because on paper, you might have a 7-figure business, but if your profits, you know, you're spent $998,000 every year, like, that's not going to be doing anything.
Made $10.
Like, so what is it that you really want? You know? Yeah.
One thing you talk about a lot is, and I've known you for a while, and one of the earliest presentations that you came and did for a class that we had
a
in
long
La Jolla.
time ago.
That was a long time. It was probably 2018
17,
or something like that. And I know you've been sticking with this, but it's like I've always been very clear on who you're serving, who you're trying to help. Your ideal client avatar, your perfect person. You had a couple of names.
Dream client. Is what I've always
even put
it.
a name to. Like, I'm speaking to Suzanne. She's 25. Whatever. And this is what her life looks like.
Yeah.
Balayage, balayage. You know, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. Your clients just want to know that you're good at it because they're paying a lot of money for your service. Sure, you can take a class here and there, search on YouTube, learn a hack here and there on Instagram, but it's never going to be enough because to excel at balayage, you need structured learning with experts that have been where you are and can show you how to reach your goals. Hi, I'm Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and one of the first balayage experts to bring modern balayage to millions. And right now, Masters Academy, the #1 online trainer for balayage artists, is now offering lifetime memberships. That's right, no more monthly payments, no more overdrafts, just a one-time payment and you can get over 100 hours of balayage and blonding tutorials on demand to watch and rewatch on your time. Our new Masters Academy lifetime membership also includes our 3 world-famous certification programs, the Balayage Masters program, the Blonde Masters program, and the Extensions Masters program. Not only do you get to own all 3 of these now, you also get Master Certified. So if you're stuck, Lacking that balayage confidence, or just need an awesome excuse to raise your prices? Masters Academy is the answer. And right now, you can save $100 off any lifetime membership. Just go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE at checkout to redeem your $100 off promotion. I'm gonna say it again, so go grab a pen and write this down. Go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE and redeem your promotion now. How important is that for stylists to get clear on who they want as a client?
Yeah. Oh, I think it's so important. I think obviously I teach Instagram, but the foundation that I always go back to is know who you're talking to.
Right.
Know who that dream client is. And my recommendation is, again, whether you're a stylist, salon owner, building an education business, whatever it is, you always have to have that person that you're speaking to.
Sure.
And that just helps clarify everything you do. And for me, there's a couple, and you can't have a couple avatars. I have a couple at this point now, but there's days where I'm we all have those days where you're just I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Or you get a negative comment, or, a client cancels, or you have a redo come in. Those are days that happen. That's just life. But if you can kind of go back to wait, why am I doing this? And for me, there's a girl in Kansas who is getting ready for her balayage client the next day, and she's freaking out, and so she goes to YouTube and she searches how to do a balayage, and my video comes up, you know what I mean? And that's why I show up and do what I do on those hard days. And I think it's important to remember that, again, even as a stylist, maybe you have that client who's your dream client, and you're yeah, okay, Jenny is my girl. I love to show up for her. How can I get more clients like her? And again, everything you post on Instagram or social media goes back to what would that dream client like. So, yeah.
Right. One thing a lot of people probably don't know about you is your background in musical theater.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm curious about your background with that.
Yeah.
How long you did it.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff you did, and how it may or may not have helped you in doing what you do today.
Yeah. So I started doing theater when I was 14, I want to say. I think I've always enjoyed theater. I think it's so fun. And I did church choir things and, little church plays and stuff when I was little, but really started to pursue it at age 14, did vocal lessons and singing and all of that stuff. And I did it all the way up until mid 20s, and actually took a step back just because it does require a lot of work and a lot of time. And then at that same time, I was building the salon business and building my education business. I just didn't have the capacity. But in the last couple of years, I've actually started to do improv, which is so fun. Improv, I guess most people think of it as improv comedy, but really improv is all about learning how to listen and have conversations and building on the last thing that the person said, yes and, yeah. And it has tremendously helped me. I mean, again, I had that theater knowledge before, but I would say that improv has helped me in so many ways.
I kind of want to do that. That
you
sounds like a lot of fun.
You would be so good at it.
I love just being imaginative with my kids. It's just...
Well, you have the acting background too, so that would help. But I think, this isn't a pitch for improv, but I truly think that every person should do it. And I think specifically in the hair industry, just learning how to have good conversations with our clients and learning how to listen to them and then be able to share back what they just said is so important. I think everyone should take an improv class.
Yeah, or
if that's anything that you got out of
something to just get more comfortable with your own voice, with sharing, with getting, I don't know, just opening up.
Yeah.
Being bigger than yourself.
Yeah, and more confident too. And I think, there's just so many skills. I also think that there's so much to be said for having a hobby outside of work.
Right.
And for me, that has been so helpful. There's multiple times that we'll be in a rehearsal or a class, and, we are grown adults doing these crazy things. I'm if anybody walked by right now, they would think we were in a cult. This is crazy. But I think it's just it's the one time where I'm not thinking about, my clients or, this email that I got to respond to, this brand deal or whatever. I'm just there and present. And for us as creatives, especially as stylists, we don't take enough time to do things for ourselves. And I think there's so much value in that, to turn your brain off, not think about that client, not think about that color correction you have tomorrow, and just do something for you.
Well, it's about checking that self-care box.
Yeah.
The self-care, self-love.
Yeah.
And that part of that is being able to shut off from work, even though we love our jobs. Yeah. We still don't need to do it all the time, 24/7.
Yeah.
Because those types of people that don't have those boundaries yet are the ones that get taken advantage of by their clients.
Yeah.
They get the text after hours. They get the weekend calls and, hey, can you come to my house and do your hair? And if you haven't established those boundaries, like this is business, this is personal, then you might just say, sure, what time should I be there? And just for a few extra bucks. There are times when you need to do that. Maybe at the beginning, if you're struggling with bills. I mean, I worked my butt off, and I'm sure you did.
Oh, totally.
To make ends meet. But then once you get to a place where you the money's more regular, then you create those boundaries. Be like, okay, I have graduated from starving stylist to
these are my hours.
I am now a business. These are my hours. I do not answer the phone or a text after my last client or 6, 7 p.m., whatever it is. Never on the weekends.
Oh gosh, no.
And I talk about the strength in having solid boundaries, like actually knowing what your boundaries are, because then it makes saying no so easy.
Oh yeah, because every yes you say is a no to something else, right? So every yes to that client who wants to come in late or whatever, that's a no to you spending time with your friends and family, or a no for you just having time off, you know, like all of that, everything is a trade-off. And I think, as creatives, it's hard for us because we love the people, we love our clients, But
and we're people pleasers.
For sure.
So tell me about Ember Retreat.
So
I'm excited to be part of it this year.
I'm so excited. So Ember is actually something that I founded with my business partner, Piper DeYoung. She's from more the makeup side of the beauty industry. So her and I created Ember Retreat. Our first retreat was 2018, which is wild. And we've planned 5 retreats. We've executed 4. COVID kind of screwed us up in the middle there. Sure. But so this will be technically the 6th one we planned, 5th one we've done. And we're so excited. It's going to be Palm Springs, and we get to have you as a speaker, which is so cool.
And you're going to be on the hero stage just 2 months before, a month.
It's literally like the month before. It's like a couple, not even, I think like 3 weeks before. Wild. It's back to back.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. But we're excited. Ember this year, before it was for, stylists or salon owners just wanting to like grow their business. And this year we're actually changing the content of it. And we're really focusing on people who have grown a business in the salon and are looking for what's next. So maybe that's going into education or starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, creating a merch line, like doing what you've done. Just kind of like, okay, cool. Like I've done this thing. Like I want something else. Like what else is out there for me? So that's exciting because there's not really anything in the industry that's geared towards that, especially in a retreat format. So we're really excited.
Fantastic. I can't wait to be there. Last thing I want to touch on here.
Sure.
I think this year, just in the last couple of years, I think ever since COVID, life has been harder for a lot of people. Costs, inflation, cost of everything keeps rising. Business is here and there sometimes. If you were a struggling stylist right now, and I mean, even I know as business owners, we've been doing what we do. We've got our moments where we're just like, this has not been a good season. What would you tell somebody that is just they're stuck, they don't know how to get ahead, they're losing passion for what they love, they don't know what the next right move is? What would you tell them?
I think like that's so relevant. Like you said, I think that we've had just a challenging last 4 years. And I always say like, it's been a hard 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Let's take it all the way back to COVID.
It's crazy. It really has been hard. And I'll be honest, like again, what you see from social media, like it's been hard even in our business and trying to figure out, stylists were in COVID all online and we had a great year. And then we had a lot of people quit the industry. I'm sure you guys experienced that, or just a lot of people not investing in education because they were back working with their clients. So I think for us, we continually have been in that state of like, okay, trying to figure out what works now, because what worked before doesn't necessarily work now. And same thing for stylists and salons. I think I've been hearing that too. It's just like, okay, how did I get clients before? It's a little different now.
Right.
I mean, for me, obviously I teach Instagram. I still believe that Instagram is the place to get clients. And I think because it's the place that clients are looking for stylists. So maybe for some of you, you've been feeling like Instagram isn't working or just it's not quite hitting off. And chances are, and I'm saying this to myself, it's probably because you're trying to do the exact same things of what worked before. So try something different. I think like that's the biggest thing. And with that, usually it means coming out of your comfort zone and trying something that you've never done before, something that feels uncomfortable, something that feels like, ugh. And again, I'm speaking to myself here, you know, even within our own business, we're like, oh, okay, like we have to try this new thing. Will it work? I don't know, but we have to try.
Right.
And I think like that's like the biggest thing that I would say is like, yeah, just try something a little different and see how that goes.
And focus on like who you're messaging to, who are you trying to
Going back
attract,
to that dream client.
right? That dream client, right?
Yeah.
Would you recommend finding maybe a handful of accounts that speak to you?
Yeah.
And say like, one, is this relevant to my audience? And two, what kind of content are they posting that I could more or less like steal and make it my own without obviously copying exact words and things. Because even if I copied something that you did, it still wouldn't be, it still wouldn't be, probably it would be my voice the way I did it, you know.
Sure.
Would you recommend that as kind of an idea?
Yeah, I think
somebody
that,
just has no ideas on like what should I post?
Yeah, I think that like that can be helpful, right? Like even just getting out of like your little bubble. And I think too, for some of us, you know, our bubble is that feed that we've had for so long. Like I know for me, I'm like, these are the same people that I followed for years. So even just trying to find new people to be exposed to, you know, whether that's through like the Explore feed or whatever. I also think that there can be a little danger in that too, because often when you're feeling down about yourself and kind of going back to what we said at the beginning of this conversation, sometimes it's easy to see somebody else's social media and be like, oh, they're just doing all the things. And like, oh man, like their photos look so much better than mine and their branding looks so much better than mine, and like get down on ourselves. Yeah. And I want to challenge you on that we often tend to be our worst critic. Right. And so often there's times when I'm like, oh, my feed looks horrible or my branding sucks. Like I'm kind of going through that right now. I'm like, I'm not happy with it, whatever. And like, yet so many people are like, I love your stuff. It's so good. You know, like all these compliments. And yet we're our own worst critic. I'm like, why can't my hair video look like that person's hair video? And I'm like, it does. Or it has my own unique part of it, and that's what people love. That's what your clients are going to be attracted to. So yeah, I think that can be helpful, but I also think that it could be dangerous. So just like you know yourself and like what's going to be the most helpful for you. If that's helpful, awesome. If that's not, then don't do it. Yeah.
All right, last thing.
Sure.
Being an Instagram guru, how much time do you actually spend on Instagram for pure, like I fell in a rabbit hole versus like I'm working?
Yeah. I would say definitely a lot more just scrolling than I'm working. At this point, because of what I do, I have created a lot of systems to not have to be posting on Instagram that much. Right. So I would say that it's not even like working like on actual Instagram. It's like working inside of apps like Planoly. I use that a ton. And we try to, and I say we, because I do have a team that does help me. It's mostly me still, but try to create that content ahead of time, schedule it. And then I'm really only spending like 3 to 5 minutes posting on Instagram. I mean, maybe 10 minutes to do like a longer reel or something. The longer content is going to be like a brand post or something that's like a little bit more in depth. That takes a bit more time, but it's really not spending a lot of time on Instagram. A lot of it's just like spending that time once a month getting the ideas, or once a week kind of getting the ideas. And then just when it comes to posting, it's pretty quick.
Oh man, I got another question now.
I mean, it comes up creating systems, right? It's any systems in our business.
So Planoly, I've heard that using something like that, I've used it in the past, a long time ago, back when I actually was consistent on Instagram. But Planoly, it doesn't screw up the algorithm or make it look like a robot or something like. And how far in advance do you do it?
Yeah, so I actually don't use Planoly to post on my behalf. Gotcha. So I use Planoly to plan my content. Okay. So whether it's like, okay, we're going to do this video idea. Obviously, I'll edit the video in Instagram, create the reel in Instagram, save it. upload it to Planoly, and then I have my caption that I write out in Planoly. So it's like you've got your reel, you got your caption, and then you can schedule it to like remind you to post. Let's say tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I want to post. Then it'll send me like a notification like, hey, time to post, but it won't post for me. You can set it to do that.
Right, but that's not
I don't
advised.
recommend.
Right.
No.
Okay.
We've tested it. A lot of people have tested it. Like the algorithm doesn't love it. And the algorithm actually doesn't even like when you use the Instagram scheduler, which is so frustrating. Why they even have that, I don't know. So we'll just use it. And the cool thing about Planoly is you literally can click post and then it downloads the video for you. So this is great, especially if you have a team or you like can't find the content. Downloads the video for you and it copy and pastes the caption for you. So you just go right into Instagram, hit post, the reel's there. You can add your trending audio and then your caption's right there. And then you just add any other information. It's done. So that's how I'm able to post in like 5 minutes a full reel with caption. And that's what keeps you consistent because again, like anybody who's watching this probably knows like it is so hard to be consistent. And it's like, if I have to like create the reel, then go write the caption, then go do all that stuff, like that does take 20, 30 minutes just for one reel. And then you start to just be like, I can't do this anymore.
Right. And if you're trying to do it throughout the day,
every time,
then it's like you're not always going to be in that flow mode.
So you just do it all at once. And that's like a big thing that I love to teach. Is teach hairstylists.
And then you can just go do improv.
Then you can just go laugh it up, do improv.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I have so many more questions, but
I love it.
We'll do a part 2.
Sure.
But anyway, Jamie Dana, everybody.
Yay.
And just let's just end with a tune. Just sing
something. Absolutely not.
The end.
Yay.
Thank you. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Hair Hero. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. And don't forget to screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging us at Masters of Balayage. We'd love to see your posts and share them. Until next time, remember, be bold, be brave, be you. See you in the next episode.